G'day, oddity hunters, and welcome back to the land down under. A place of stunning beauty, unique wildlife, and, well, seasonal aerial assault.
Yep, you heard right. Forget sharks, forget spiders for a tick, though we've got plenty of those too. Today, we're talking about a menace that rules the skies for a few months each year, turning ordinary footpaths into war zones and mild-mannered cyclists into paranoid, helmet-decorating lunatics. We're talking about Magpie Swooping season. It's that special time, usually around August to October, sometimes stretching into November, the breeding season, when a certain black and white bird decides your very existence near its nesting tree is a personal insult punishable by aerial dive bombing. It's a national phenomenon, a rite of passage for anyone who dares venture outside during spring. It's Magpie Madness, mates, and it's one of Australia's weirdest, most terrifying, and frankly, most hilarious annual traditions. Ever wondered why you see grown adults running down the street flapping their arms like startled chickens, or cyclists sporting helmets that look like punk rock hedgehogs? Stick around, because today on Aussie Oddities, we're diving headfirst, helmet firmly on obviously, into the annual reign of terror known as the Australian Magpie Swooping season. We'll look at the feathered fiends responsible, the risks involved, yes, there are actual injuries, and the truly bizarre prevention tactics Aussies employ in this ongoing avian conflict. Alright, let's identify the main culprit. While a few other birds get a bit territorial, the undisputed champion of springtime swooping is the Australian magpie, Gymnorina tibicin. Now, don't get me wrong, most of the year, these guys are actually pretty cool. They're intelligent, have complex social structures, and their caroling song is an iconic sound of the Aussie bush and suburbs. They can even recognize human faces. Yeah, studies show they remember people who are kind to them and, crucially, people who've pissed them off. But come nesting season, a switch flips in some of them. Not all magpies swoop, mind you. It's estimated only about 10% become aggressive, and it's almost always the male birds acting like overzealous bouncers for their nest and young. These protective dads establish an attack zone, typically a 100 to 200 meter radius around their precious nest. Step inside that invisible boundary during breeding season and you might get a warning, some loud caroling, maybe some aggressive beak clapping. Ignore that? Well, mate, prepare for incoming. While the magpie is the main star of this swooping show, we should give honorable or dishonorable mentions to a few other feathered friends who occasionally join the swooping birds club. The Magpie-lark, or Peewee, can be surprisingly vicious despite its size. Sometimes butcher birds get in on the act, and even masked lapwings, those noisy plovers you see on grassy fields, will defend their ground nests with gusto, though they tend to swoop from the ground up. But let's be honest, when Aussies talk about swooping season, they mean the magpie. He's the headline act, the feathered fury, the reason your local council puts up warning signs that look like something out of a Hitchcock film. So, why the aggro? It's pure defensive behavior. That male magpie isn't trying to steal your chips or critique your questionable fashion choices. He sees you, particularly if you're moving quickly like cyclists, runners, or even just walkers striding purposefully, as a potential threat to his eggs or chicks. His goal isn't usually to cause serious harm, but to scare you the hell out of his territorial zone. The swooping attack itself can vary. Sometimes it's a bluff attack, a close flyby, just to let you know he's there and he's not happy. Other times it's more committed. They might actually make contact, usually aiming for the head. You might get a head peck, some scratches, or a solid whack from a wing. Now, while most encounters end with nothing more than a bruised ego and a sudden urge to change your route, the danger is real. Eye injuries are a significant risk. Those sharp beaks aiming for the highest point, your head, can and sometimes do cause serious damage. There are numerous reports each year of people needing medical attention for eye injuries sustained during a magpie attack. And then there are the indirect risks. A sudden swoop can easily cause cyclists to lose balance and crash, leading to broken bones or worse.
Pedestrians, especially the elderly or young children, can fall while trying to evade an attack. Tragically, there has even been an indirect fatality linked to a magpie swoop. A baby died from head injuries after her mother fell during an attack in Queensland back in 2021. So, while we often treat it with Australian humor, it's a threat to be taken seriously. Okay, so how do Aussies fight back in this magpie season warfare? Well, with typical Aussie ingenuity and a healthy dose of absurdity. Prevention and avoidance are key, but when you have to enter the attack zone, the defenses come out. The most iconic image, the cyclist's bike helmet transformed into a weapon of mass distraction. The classic is covering it with zip ties sticking straight up, supposedly deterring the bird from getting too close. Does it work? Jury's out, but it looks bloody ridiculous, which is half the fun. Then there's the theory that magpies are less likely to attack if they think you're looking at them. Enter eyes on the helmet. Painted eyes, googly eyes, stickers, anything to give the impression of constant vigilance. Some people swear by it, others just end up looking like a startled Teletubby. For walkers, sunglasses and a wide-brimmed hat offer some basic helmet protection, for your face anyway. Umbrellas become makeshift shields. Some folks carry sticks, not to hit the bird, just to wave menacingly. And the truly desperate? The old ice cream container helmet. Fashionable? No. Effective? Maybe keeps the beak out of your scalp. There are actual strategies too. Experts advise you walk, don't run through a known swooping zone. If you're on a bike, get off your bike and walk. Magpies seem particularly triggered by the speed of cyclists. Travel in groups if possible, and crucially, try to face the bird as you move away. They're less likely to swoop if they don't have the element of surprise from behind. Yes, this means walking backwards sometimes. Dignified? Absolutely not. Safer? Potentially. There are even websites and apps like Magpie Alert where people log attacks, creating a crowdsourced map of danger zones so you can plan alternative routes. Using local knowledge is key. Ask your neighbors, check community Facebook groups. Someone always knows where the current neighborhood psycho bird lives. Now here's a controversial topic. Can you actually make friends with magpies to avoid being attacked? Some people swear by it. They argue that if you regularly feed magpies in your yard, healthy food mind you, mincemeat, not bread, they'll recognize you as a friend, not a threat, and leave you alone even during nesting season. The theory is sound, given their ability to recognize faces. However, wildlife authorities generally discourage feeding native birds, as it can make them dependent, cause health problems if the food isn't right, and potentially increase aggression around food sources. Plus, are you really going to try and offer a snack to a bird that looks like it wants to take your eye out? It's a bold strategy, Cotton. So, while the image of having a magpie bodyguard is appealing, the official advice is usually avoidance and protection, not appeasement through food. But hey, Aussies love a bit of rule bending, especially if it involves wildlife. So there you have it, the annual Magpie Swooping season, a bizarre blend of genuine danger, natural defensive behavior, and pure Australian humor in the face of airborne adversity. It's a survival guide written in zip ties and fear, a national phenomenon that unites us in shared tales of near misses and ridiculous headwear. From the terrified children clutching their school bags to the lycra-clad cyclists bracing for impact, it's a reminder that even in our cities and suburbs, wild Australia is never too far away, and sometimes it just wants to peck you on the head. What's your best magpie swooping story? Got any foolproof prevention tips we missed? Or maybe you're one of the brave souls who's actually befriended your local feathered overlord. Let us know your experiences and survival tactics in the comments below. We need all the help we can get. If you enjoyed this guide to surviving Australia's avian conflict, give this video a thumbs up. And make sure you subscribe to Aussie Oddities for more deep dives into the weird, wonderful, and occasionally terrifying side of Down Under. Stay safe out there this spring. Keep your eyes peeled and maybe wear a hat. Catch ya!